So for a long time, I've always maintained the thought that NIO always offers perks and benefits here in China first when it comes to cars and features, and then they're kind of slow when it comes to launching it in Europe. For example, new phone support, etc. Also, in terms of like pricing, some of you guys have complained that pricing is a little bit pricier. Also for BAS upgrades in Europe, it's a little bit pricier. You know, the European team, they operate semi-independently. They have their own ways of doing things, and some of the things that I've heard that they've done fantastic would be, for example, in some European countries, you have to bring your own charging cable. In NIO's cars here in China, you don't have that need. All chargers have their own charging cable. So NIO's European team was able to cleverly come out with a solution to sort of provide a storage area within the trunk of the vehicle to hence give these European NIO owners the location to place their charging cable. So this is one of the many things that they're doing which are very, very good. But this thing that they just did, I gotta give it to them. They did something quite nice. And this is, I think, something that even the Chinese team over here in China could copy and learn from the European team. So, and this is one of many, okay? So one of the first things is, of course, they just launched these mini NIO spaces, very, very small NIO spaces. They're right next to swap stations in Europe. And I think it is absolutely genius because that, first of all, can serve as a resting area for some NIO owners, but also there might be some sales reps or one sales rep over there potentially showcasing the swap station and with onlookers that are just there to check out and not too sure about what that thing is. Is that an AC unit or is that a car wash unit? That sales rep can give them the full rundown and introduce the car to them. And I think this is a brilliant tactic. Of course, here in China, you know, with so many swap stations, it's kind of difficult to have a sales rep at every swap station. But what you're seeing is most places, they place swap stations next to the stores if possible, especially at service centers. Place that next to the service center, so you know the store there, they can very easily show them the swap station. But this, you got to give it to them. This is a very genius marketing tactic, really allowing more people to witness swap firsthand. A lot of you guys have said that swap stations are the perfect advertising tools to advertise for NIO, and of course it is the best thing when it comes to NIO, of course, with the ability to battery swap. NIO CEO has also said that this year the swap station tactic is to focus more on marketing with the intention of getting sales. So this is, of course, very, very cool. And then also with Gen 4 swap stations, they're going to look for partners to fork out the money to build those swap stations and be public swap stations. And I really hope that the Chinese NIO team here could also look at what the European NIO team is doing and also maybe potentially implement this at certain locations where there's a lot of foot traffic. For example, here in China, the Olympic Stadium where the 2008 Olympics were held, there's a swap station right there. Lots of people walking by every single day, even tourists or even local Beijing people. There's so many people. It would be fantastic if they had like a mini booth like what the EU team is having and have a sales rep there just talking to people that are onlookers, maybe giving them a brochure, maybe brochure is like a little bit old school, but they still do brochures, but hand them out a brochure, maybe hand them a bottle of water. This type of heartwarming experience is something that a lot of people have get a good impression of NIO, at least, right? And anybody that walks into a NIO store here in Beijing, they get a free bottle of water, and it's just a very good first impression. A bottle of water doesn't cost a lot, all right? But, it could potentially lead to a sale in the future. I mean, that would be fantastic returns if you think about it that way. And also with that bottle of water, there's the QR code on it for a test drive if you're interested. So it is also marketing, okay? So don't say, hey, Mr. P, like NIO handing out free bottles of water, that's a huge cash burn. No, it's not. A bottle of water here in China is extremely, extremely cheap. All right. So that's what they're doing over there in Europe. And I think NIO should be doing that here in China as well. But also one of the things that the EU team really thought and did really well was with the swap stations during the winter. So when I was swapping from Beijing all the way to Fuzhou, a 2,000 plus kilometer trip, at certain swap stations, because there was so much snow, the car couldn't read the box. So there's that white box in front of the swap station where you have to park your car in for the swap to start. Well, if it's covered in snow, the car can't see it and you can't initiate the swap. So that's kind of a bummer, and I experienced this problem. And the swap technician had to shovel the snow out. So this is definitely not a good experience. But what the EU team thought of is to have that area heated. So in the EU swap stations, especially in Norway, with those swap stations, if it's with heavy snow, that area is heated. So that box will always be visible because it's heated. So that's also another thing that they're doing fantastically well. But of course, again, they're doing things well. And we always go back to the fact that marketing, perhaps NIO still needs to improve more on marketing to get the word out there. So I just really hope that they're doing good stuff. I hope that they can keep on pushing forward. Some of the things that they did in the past, live streams, big live streams, partner with those big live streams and providing some cars. And I think what NIO did last time was they gave away 3 cars. But what Xpeng did is Xpeng gave away 1 year of free usage for the car. I think that's going to be a lot more cost effective, because then 1 year later you can still get that car back and sell it or use it as a test drive vehicle or as a loaner car. So I think NIO should be doing that en masse. Maybe like provide these 1 year usage vouchers, or maybe even a little bit shorter, 6 months or 3 months. So I think NIO should really look into doing something like that. They've done it in the past with like 1 week or 1 day, own it for 1 day. But I think you really got to experience the whole NIO experience for at least 3 to 6 months and understand battery swap. They're doing a lot of good things. Marketing, hopefully, can also really help us out. Don't get too depressed with the share price. I know it's painful as well, but back when NIO was at $3 before the pump to 60, and it went down to 1.7, you can imagine that was also very, very painful. But look at the people that held, right? Just hang in there, guys, all right? As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.